Welcome to Denman's Den. I'm Kathy Denman, and I haven't been on for a little while, but today is October 17th, and it's the day before, it's Friday. Tomorrow, Saturday, October 18th, is No King's Day all over the United States and in other parts of the world where people are supporting us as well as have autocratic regimes of their own that they wish to protest. And so tomorrow is our second No King's Day, where millions and millions of Americans in the United States, Mexico, Canada, and many other countries in the world who support our efforts will be peaceably taking to the streets to reject authoritarianism in all its forms, and particularly in the United States, to reject the Trump administration's authoritarian attempts to consolidate power in the United States of America. To me, this is democracy at work. The right to peaceful assembly is one of our basic rights as listed in the Bill of Rights in our own Constitution. The Trump administration seems to understand how big a deal that these protests are, because after all, peaceful demonstrations, especially mass peaceful demonstrations that occur by millions and millions of people all across the country, pose an existential threat to an autocratic regime like the Trump administration. So predictably, the White House is trying to intimidate citizens into staying home. They are doing this by seeking to investigate or criminalize the work of some of the organizers of these protests. And they are also seeking to do it by falsely painting peaceful protesters as criminals or even terrorists. And this is because the White House knows how unpopular most of their actions are becoming and how vulnerable they are right now to Americans peacefully exercising their First Amendment rights. But instead of listening, this authoritarian administration wants to engineer the justification to strip dissenters of their constitutional rights. Right now, Donald Trump and his administration, they have no way to stop Americans from protesting tomorrow. Practically, legally, politically, they are absolutely powerless in the face of patriotic citizens taking to the streets to celebrate our democracy. The First Amendment protects everyone's right to do so. So, their only option is to try to scare Americans into not participating. They can't muster repression, so they're counting on anticipatory obedience. And I'm going to share with you right now some blatant examples of this anticipatory obedience that they hope they can get by being intimidating in some statements from Trump's MAGA allies. So the Speaker of the House, number one maggot, House Speaker Mike Johnson, described the planned march tomorrow in Washington, D.C. at the National Mall as a, quote, hate America rally that would draw the, quote, pro-Hamas wing and the, quote, Antifa people, end quote. House Majority Whip Tom Emmer also said that No King's Day is, quote, about one thing and one thing alone: to score political points with the terrorist wing of the Democratic Party, end quote. Transportation Secretary Sean Duffy made threats that were a little bit more club-fisted in the way that they tried to push against the protesters by saying the No Kings protest is really frustrating. It's part of Antifa, and the protesters are being paid, and it begs the question of who is funding it. End quote. Now, I want you to listen to me, everyone. None of what they're saying is real. None of that is real, okay? These are invented narratives by people who are terrified of the power of the people. There is no Antifa organization, okay? Antifa does not exist. I mean, all of us, including me, I'm anti-fascist, which is what Antifa supposedly stands for, but there is no organization called Antifa. None of us wants fascism, okay? None of us. But it's such an organization that they keep giving credit to paying protesters and being behind all kinds of other things that are against what they stand for. They credit to this make-believe organization called Antifa. Now, if the last No King's Day was any indication, the protests tomorrow are going to be very peaceful and overwhelmingly safe, and people will be nonviolent for the most part, I believe. I believe this because my research online to various locations throughout the country and the world shows me that organizers are going to extraordinary lengths to avoid chaos and violence. You know, they're giving advice as to how to react when people try to provoke them and all kinds of things. The real risk, my friends, is targeted repression by the administration, either threatening legal retaliation against organizers or hinting at using force to disperse protests, and trying to cast a shadow of fear that saps energy from the whole movement. So let me give you an example of this. On October 15th, 2025, which was only 2 days ago, the Marines, the United States Marine Corps, posted a statement on their official website, which I am quoting here in its exact words, announcing a, quote, live-fire amphibious capabilities demonstration at Red Beach Camp Pendleton, California, that would be followed by, quote, a community beach bash at Del Mar Beach on Saturday, October 18th, 2025, to mark the Marine Corps' 250th birthday and America's semi-quincentennial. Okay? The statement said, quote, the capabilities demonstration will feature integrated Navy and Marine Corps operations across air, land, and sea, and assured the public that, quote, all training events will occur on approved training ranges and comport with established safety protocols, end quote. Folks, first thing I'd like to point out is that the actual anniversary of the United States Marine Corps is not October 18th, but November 15th, okay? You need to know this was indeed planned by the Trump administration together with the Navy and Marine Corps to be on the same day as the No Kings protest. Further research on my part has indicated that although the military has not, and I repeat, not closed Interstate 5 for these military exercises, it was in fact our maggot Vice President Vance that insisted to California Governor Gavin Newsom that out of respect for our military, the interstate should be closed. Newsom replied a flat no to Vance's insistence, although there is a concern about missiles possibly being fired over that main interstate highway where it goes alongside of Camp Pendleton. But to correct the information being put out there by both sides, both the ultra-conservative and ultra-liberal media reports, the truth is that at this time, the entire Interstate 5 corridor will remain open tomorrow. Americans will not be intimidated by a show of military force of any kind on either coast, whether it is to supposedly celebrate an anniversary that hasn't arrived yet, or not be intimidated for any other reason that there might be military presence out there. And I'd also like, as a kind of a side note here, to point out that every single member of the Free Press, including Fox News, and that's significant, okay, including Fox News, turned in their Pentagon credentials yesterday rather than submit their reports for approval to Hegseth. Now that is courage. And we need to have and follow their example. When all Americans, even those who don't usually protest, show up this weekend, they will reveal the emptiness of the administration's dangerous and fundamentally un-American gamble to intimidate the people and try to kill our freedom of the press, freedom of speech, and all other freedoms that are a part of our great democracy. This is more true than it has ever been. Every single day, Americans have the power to demonstrate just how ridiculous the administration is being with its descriptions of No Kings protesters. Terrorists. Antifa. Ridiculous. Tomorrow, they and we can prove to the rest of the country that pro-democracy demonstrators don't hate the United States of America, nor are they terrorists, members of Hamas, or members of a non-existent Antifa. They are our friends and neighbors and fellow citizens who believe in democracy in the United States of America and globally. And they want to keep it. I want to keep it. I will end this commentary by quoting my very best friend, Von Rees, who wrote this yesterday. He said, "Liberty is not a gift. It's a trust. It demands vigilance. It demands virtue. It demands sacrifice. If we abandon these, the republic will perish, not by the sword of the tyrant, but by the slumber of the free. Therefore, let us awaken. Let us summon once more the spirit of 1776. See you all tomorrow at the No Kings protest. Thanks for listening. Bye.